Hello and welcome to patsoforjesus.com. My name is Anna and I'm here today with Nick Federici, one of the most interesting people you and I will ever meet. Nick and his wife Carol are the co-founders of Second Chance Cafe in St. Leonard, Quebec. And Nick's here today with us, and we'd love to hear a little bit about the Second Chance Cafe.
I started in the beginning was mainly to reach out to drug addicts, alcoholics, which is what my life was about in the past, and to help them find a better way out of that, to live a better life and to make a difference in our community. A place where needy people come to get clothes and food and help and prayer and many things like that.
Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up and your history?
It was good, free in southern Italy, in a little mountain, and as we were talking earlier, it was a crude place to live. There wasn't a lot of civilization there. It was a mountainous area. The mode of style for men was that you beat your animals, your kids, and your wife, and that's how you get things done. And everybody drank, everybody smoked. It was after World War II, so it was rough. Then my father came to the United States when I was 6. When I was 8, we came, my mother and I. Altogether, there were 7 of us, 5 girls and 2 boys. And when I came to the United States, my father was an alcoholic. I noticed that I went down to get him a bottle of wine, a gallon of wine. There were so many empty gallons, and that impressed me that there could be that many. Not realizing that he was an alcoholic, but as time went on, I realized that every night he finished a gallon of wine from 6 o'clock to midnight. And it was rough at home. He drank and he beat everybody up, usually after the halfway point of the gallon. The first wasn't so bad, dancing, all kinds of crazy things. You know, it was fun the first part of the gallon, but the second part, so it was always torment. It always ended up the same way, yelling and screaming and beatings every night. You know? That's how I grew up. So when I was 12 years old, I started drinking myself at 16, smoking pot. 18, I was a heroin addict. In 18, I went to prison. And that was a life of insanity for the next 23 years.
Can you describe for us at what point you started turning to drugs?
Well, actually, a friend of mine that went to service, he came out and he brought home some marijuana at 16. We started smoking even earlier. And then we started. Tony, as I said, he was a part-time gangster. I hooked up with him, and it was mostly with him. He had marijuana being sent from California, and then we started selling heroin together for money. And I always worked, though, you know, hanging out with wise guys, tough guys, bad guys. It was impressive to me because I didn't know peace. I didn't have direction. I didn't have somebody that guided me to do the right thing, you know. All I saw was anger and frustration and bitterness and beatings and alcohol. And I was always, when I look back at my youth, I was always easily influenced. But not by good things, though. Because I looked at the bad guys, the guys that had more courage, and that's how I was impressed with that, and I went that way, you know. We had a phrase, broke, busted, disgusted, it can't be trusted. And I looked back and I saw what a mess I made of my life, and that's when I was broken inside out. Wow, I thought I was somebody, I was tough, I was bad, and now I'm nothing. Hopeless. And that's when, in El Reno, Oklahoma, Gary Evans, he was a supervisor, who asked me, if you want to work here in his office, you have to read the Bible. The best moment of my life. And so I said, you know, thinking, I'm not going to read no Bible. To me, a guy walking around in prison with a Bible is a punk, a little weak guy, or get out of here, you know. He said, if you don't read the Bible while you're here, he says, find yourself another job. So I figured I'd get out of it. I said, I don't have a Bible. He gave me a brand new King James wrapped up in plastic, and then he said, you got 30 days to memorize a verse. If you don't memorize a verse, find another job. Yeah, sure. Took the plastic off, I opened it up. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. I'll memorize it. 2 weeks it took me to memorize it. The day I memorized it, I couldn't swear anymore. Curse, bad, foul language. You took it out. Just gone. And then I began to get really hungry to read and study, and I went to Bible school. My whole life changed.
Did you feel a sense of having found something important for yourself?
Yeah, I met Jesus. Because, you know, I was impressed, as I said before, easily influenced, impressed with bad guys, tough guys. But then when I saw what Jesus did, all the miracles he did, how he had compassion, then I learned meekness. Meekness is not weakness. Meekness is not a guy who can beat other people. Meekness was able to endure whatever happens your way with joy in your heart. It took time to understand that. I got shot 3 times when I first came to Jesus Christ. Reading that time in El Reno, Oklahoma with Gary Evans, he says to me, you need to forgive that guy that shot me. Man, this guy shot me 3 times. Now Gary Evans says to me, Nick, you have to forgive him. That's what being a Christian is all about. Okay, I forgive him. I didn't mean it, not even a little bit. He knew it. He knew I didn't mean 1 ounce of it. But so he kept having me say it, Nick, you have to forgive him. And then he showed me how Jesus on the cross said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they're doing. And then I came to realize a little bit how bad I was, all the things I did. And I want God to forgive me. Here's a guy that did the most damage in my life, and I began to really, truly, sincerely forgive him. Then I began to pray for him, that he would come to know Jesus and his life would be changed like mine did, you know? And it's a process. I know some people, stars and lights and angels. It didn't happen that way to me. It doesn't happen to too many people like that. It was a process.
Can you tell us maybe one or two of the moments that you felt were the darkest times in your life, the times maybe where?
There were many of them. But one particular was when demons themselves can't. I know this is going to be crazy for people that don't understand spiritual warfare. I was shooting drugs with a whole bunch of guys early in the morning. I felt compelled to go home. When I got home, this is my second wife, her and her sister and my son and her brother were huddled on the couch for hours. I said, what's the matter? They said, listen. I listened, chains were clanging, floorboards were creaking, loud. I pulled out my gun, I ran through every room, downstairs, basement, under the bed, in the bathrooms, everywhere. There was nothing there, nobody there. I said, I can't, what do you want me to do? Do something, please. They were crying. They were in such terror. And the noises were crazy. So all of a sudden I stopped to think, and I got a thought to call a church. I picked up a phone, I didn't know any church. I called the information, I told them where we are, we're the closest church. She gave me I called. A woman answered the phone, it was about 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, I'd like to talk to a priest. She said, they're sleeping, can I help you? I said, yeah, listen to this. So she heard the sounds. She goes, oh my, what is that? I said, that's why I called you. She said, do you know what today is? I said, no, today is All Souls Day. Yesterday was All Saints Day in the Catholic religion, you know. Explain it to me. Well, they're loose spirits that have no rest. Anyway, I don't know about all that. I said, what do we do? She said, light a candle and pray. We did. The only prayer we knew was the Our Father, which we prayed. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Everything stopped. They went to sleep because they were up most of the night. I went back downstairs shooting drugs, calling people, making packages, doing my stupidities. Now, then I thought I was cool. And so the next morning we had breakfast. I was still up. This is the 4th day without sleeping, continued shooting cocaine. The following day, I saw like a gray mist go by. I said, you messed with my family yesterday. I'm going to get you. I put guns on the table. I figured if I could get high enough, I'll go in there, in that realm where they are. This is what I thought. And I'll shoot them. So I loaded my guns. I put 3 syringes. All of a sudden, when I shot the 3rd syringe, blackness. I thought I was going to see them. Grab my guns. There was nothing there but black. Just black, pitch black. There was no floor, no wall. I had no body. And all of a sudden, in midair, there was the ugliest demon you could imagine. He was great linear. Fear and hate is what he was made of. That's his substance. And there were 2 more. One had me by where my legs should be, and they were taking me away. And that was the most fearful moment I ever had in my life. I've overdosed, car accidents, been shot, stabbed. Nothing scared me like that. I knew that I was no longer among the living, and I was going where I didn't want to go. And I had no choice. And all of a sudden, I remembered how yesterday, I got a flash in my mind, how we had prayed the Our Father. And then I went, God, please, Lord, don't let it. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And they didn't have power over me anymore. I could go on. For the length of time that it took to say the Our Father, I got to where the stairs, I thought, were, which they were. And I was back to reality. My wife yelled from upstairs, my ex-wife, she yelled, Nick, where are you? I ran up. I said, what are you yelling for? Me and the kids, we thought you left us. They knew I was no longer among the living. That was a terrible spiritual experience that I had.
Do you think you were searching for something? I know you said you were lost earlier. What do you think led you to choosing that path at that time?
I had no goal. I was always an adventurer going into, like when I went to prison, I wasn't afraid. It was an adventure to meet bad dudes, different guys, mob guys, international crime. You know, it was an adventure to me. It was a journey that I was on. It wasn't, oh, I'm in prison because I did bad. I didn't think of it like that. When I came out of prison, I wrote this poem before I came out. I've now been in prison 1,964 days, and all that I think of is mending my ways. I cannot get bitter or begin to hate, because all I am doing is serving my faith. The game was enticing, and I chose to play. But as we all know, when you're caught, you must pay. So I'll serve my time the best that I can, because I know when I leave here, I'll be a better man. Yes, I've learned my lesson, walking with Jesus. That's not a trick. It's a promise of a man called Nick.
As happens for all of us, though, someday we will meet God. Yeah. When you do meet God, what do you think you will want to say to him?
First and foremost, I'm going to fall down and say thank you for forgiving me, making a way for me to know you, and above all, thanks that I'm here with you. That's what I'll say.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, man.
It was such a pleasure to meet you, and God bless you and the work that you're doing with your lovely wife.
Thank you.